We're gonna watch now Aura once again with the armor and armor penetration. This is what it does. The tooltips are not correct.
Hello guys, this is Oroth and welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm gonna talk about something that is a little bit of a scandal. I'm a little bit surprised that there has not been more outrage about this, and I'm gonna explain to you what I mean about that. But the topic of today's video is armor and armor penetration. I'm gonna tell you what armor and armor penetration actually does, but on top of that we will also take a look at some tooltips, and we will discover that the tooltips are actually not correct. They're not reflecting the truth about these stats. So let us go first.
And this, if this is true, it is a problem that's been hunting Diablo Immortal for a very long time. We have the Vitus problem. So Vitus, it says that increase the beneficial effect duration by 30%. But in reality, it does not does that exactly. It does something else inside the game. But because of the translation from the Chinese, a poor translation from Chinese to English, now we have that. And that happens all over the place.
Here and look at my attributes, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. If we go here and take a look at my armor penetration, we can see that I'm currently a lot higher than the recommended for this difficulty. And when I'm higher than the recommended, I will gain some critical hit damage.
Yeah.
And this reward is diminishing, so the further above I am the recommended, the less rewards I will get.
Yes.
But I have just talked about that in a different video about secondaries. But the topic of this video is to discuss what are these stats.
So basically, if you have above 800, you're gonna have like 50%, let's imagine. But if you have 2,400, you're only gonna have like 56. That's the diminished return. It's like you go up very high and then you just keep increasing, but very slow.
Providing for us. And what's important to mention is that when we play in PvP, there are no limits for how high you can go with your secondaries and still have an effect, because your armor penetration, for example, will be compared with your opponent's armor, and that's what will determine how powerful your armor penetration will be. And some players, they have low armor, and then you don't need that high armor penetration to get the full value against those people. But if you play against someone with high armor, then you need a lot more armor penetration before you start to get bonuses. Now I'm going to show you the interaction between these two. And first we can read here what the text says on the armor. And on the armor here on the tooltip, it says that it will reduce all damage taken and increases blocked amount. So from reading this tooltip, one might think that whenever I put on more armor, I will take less damage.
No, I don't read it that way. The way I read is that it's gonna reduce the damage that... No, okay, actually is right? Reduce all the damage taken and increase the blocked amount. Okay,
types of damage will be reduced,
let him keep
this is what the tooltip is saying. And a lot of people, they are investing a lot into upgrading their armor as high as possible, but that's actually not how armor works. Armor and armor penetration has two purposes. If we look at armor, for example, when you have higher armor than your opponent's armor penetration, it will increase. So
if you read like the second part, it says that it reduces all the damage taken, but it reduces the blocking. So it's here, you know, it increases your damage reduction from blocking by 70%. But unless this 70% here, it is the block value, but I don't think it is. I think like this is this. Maybe I'm wrong, but what I read is like the blocking is gonna give you 50% reduction, and on top of that, if you have more armor, it's gonna be 67% base reduction. That's how I read. I don't read these as this is gonna give me like a flat 70% damage reduction. I only read that it's gonna increase the damage reduction from my blocking from 50 to 67%.
Your block value. So whenever you are blocking an attack, that attack will only deal 50% of the damage. And if your armor is higher than your opponent's armor penetration, this value will go up. So it will start from a base reduction of 50%, like the tooltip says here. Yeah. And here you can see currently, if I would be 1,143 higher than my opponent, I will get 17%
Exactly.
extra damage
But you
reduction
need to
on
block.
top of that 50% whenever I block. And what's important to mention here is that if I start to take off some aquamarines, if I reduce my armor, you can see now that now I'm only 487 above, but I only lose 2% damage reduction whenever I block. So I'm at 65% instead of 67%.
Yeah.
So I would say that you will break even somewhere around 500 above the recommended. And beyond that point, it doesn't really matter if your armor penetration is a lot higher than your opponent. So that is one of the interactions. That's when we talk about block chance. And the other interaction is the critical hit damage.
Because this is the problem. Like, if you have high armor, but you don't have any block on your reforce sets, in the substats, probably is gonna be useless.
So if we look here on my armor penetration, for example, as soon as I have higher armor penetration than my opponent's armor, I will start to get more critical hit damage.
Yes.
And the same thing is here. Let's say that I have 5,500 armor penetration and my opponent in PvP has 5,000 armor, then I'm 500 higher, and then I've almost reached the total bonus I can get from armor penetration against that single opponent. So if I remove some sapphires here, you can see that all of a sudden, now I'm 1,143 higher. I still almost get the same value. Let's take off some more sapphires. I take off another one. And
it's gonna
now,
be like 49.
if I would be 487 higher, I would still get 45% critical hit damage. If I remove another sapphire, now we will all of a sudden see that I am below, and now you can see that the damage reduction from their blocking goes up by 10% if their armor is 168 higher than my armor penetration. So this means that if you're between 0 to 500 above your opponent, then the difference.
So in theory, if you have higher armor, you get the 50% base plus the 17 plus the 10%, right? In theory, that's how it should
be.
So
huge
77%.
For each extra armor pen I would put in, but after 500 above, I almost get nothing. But of course, in PvP, you can meet opponents with both 3,000 armor or 8,000 armor. So of course, the more armor penetration you have, the more often you will reduce their blocked value and gain more critical hit damage. So this is what these stats are doing, and I would say that for the block chance, I think that this amount can go up to like 20% extra, so you can have a total of 70% more damage reduction whenever you block. And what's important to mention here as well is that to gain the bonuses from armor and armor penetration, of course you need a lot of critical hit chance to reap the benefits of the critical hit damage, and on top of that you also need a lot of block chance to reap the blocked value benefits from the armor. The main takeaway from this video, of course, it's important that you understand what these stats actually do, but the fact that it says here on the tooltip that armor will reduce all damage taken when it's not the truth is actually kind of scandalous, because
I actually never paid attention. Like I paid attention, but I always assumed that this was the right information here in the bottom. I felt like reducing all the damage taken, like in overall, I feel like will be extremely OP.
Especially when there's something that we spend platinum on, and it costs a lot of resources to up your secondaries after a certain point. Then we want.
I always took it that was by chance.
I remember sometime 2 years ago, or maybe even longer, when we have this gem Blessings of the Worthy, where they actually changed the text. So the text on the gem, when it originally released at launch, was different compared to how it is today. And based on the tooltip of the legendary gem, the gem was actually a lot stronger compared to how it actually works. And I think that this is almost fraudulent, because this is something that people are getting orbs for. They spend a lot of platinum, and yeah, I mean, it's really bad, to be honest. So
yeah, they need to get their shit together with the translation, basically. It happens on the patch notes, it happens inside the game, and especially like Orat is saying, and well, if it's gonna mess up with with literally the plats, you know, like you're literally spending money to bump your armor, and then the armor doesn't work as you think. Definitely that's a bad thing.
I really hope that they change this tooltip. I can understand that sometimes things get translated.
So basically, what I think it should have said was that it reduced the all damage taken. I mean, it reduced all damage taken and increased the block amount. So it should have said reduce all damage taken off your blocked amounts, something like that. You know, like the end makes it look like it's like two different things, right? That's like a. I understand, like I never read it this way, but I understand how can someone, because you're just literally just reading here, reduce all damage taken, right?
Curious to hear your thoughts about it as well, so please let me know in the comments what you think about it, and let's see what happens in the future going forward. So anyways, that was everything for today. I just want to wish you a very nice day or a very nice evening wherever you are. And of course, to all of my clan members in Nyx, I would also like to say Voruk Nyx, Sholak Sol. So, bye-bye.
Voruk Nyx, Sholak Sol, boys. Let's drop here a like towards always coming with these informative videos.